Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start. So we will be reading the words of Ashlag, right? Anybody knows what the name, why we call him Ashlag? What is his nickname of that rabbi? No? Okay, it's called the ladder, like a ladder. And it's because Ashlag is the first rabbi from the line of Baal Shem Tov, from the line of Isaac Luria, the Kabbalist, the rabbis that we kind of follow. He is the one who wrote the Zohar from Aramaic to Hebrew. So, because most people, even Jewish people, couldn't read the Zohar because they don't know Aramaic. Aramaic is a totally different language in many ways. And so he translated in Hebrew and it opened up to many, many rabbis who, would not have the ability to read the Aramaic. And so that's what we're reading. And I told you, right, in Kabbalah, we have some rabbis who are like scientists, like Einstein and Berg and Spencer and all those physics. In Kabbalah, you have these main guys who kind of, discover, they give a wisdom of Kabbalah in a different way. And so Ashlag had a best student, one student, and the student taught another rabbi where Berg will come from. Berg is the one from Kabbalah Center. You heard of Kabbalah Center, right? So it's Berg. That's the books that you read in your for your bat or bar mitzvah. Remember the little books, Monster and Dreams, and that's Berg. So that's the line that you guys read. That's one. But Ashlag had a son, and the son also was his student, and he stayed with all the notes. Even though the best student didn't have the notes and became eventually the line of Berg, the other one stayed with the notes. And the notes were given in that line to Michael Lehman, who is the one who kind of teaches from Ashlag notes. So if you go see his books, and I'll bring you some of the books or some of the Zohar ideas of them, it's very interesting how it's the notes of Ashlag. And Berg is more the concepts of Ashlag. So it's pretty neat. And those are the two lines. And there's another line called Ginsburg. But Ginsburg totally is like a mathematician. He's from MIT. And he's explained the Torah in a more scientific way. And those are the main three. Now that, might not mean a lot to you now, but as you grow and you want to know more about Kabbalah, and, we're not around, for some reason, you know the lines, because there's a lot of people who teaches Kabbalah who is truly not Kabbalah. And so that could be kind of confusing sometimes. So anyway, that's where we're reading this text. So we talked about the last time, we stayed on what is the force of giving, right? So in Kabbalah, everything has to do with forces, powers. Shouldn't be no strange things to us, because that's how we see physics now and chemistry and all that. They have powers, they have value, right? So the word Elohim is, or another way to say it is the forces, right? And it has to do with forces physically, because Elohim has the same value, 89, as the word science, or nature, nature. So when we talk about forces, we're not only talking about forces spiritually, but also forces physically, which you need to understand them in order to have a better life, right? That you need to understand, for example, even with the virus thing, people that knew about how viruses work would not have really be that afraid of what to do. But because nobody really knew about it, not everybody, but most people don't pay attention, then they never knew exactly what the virus does or how the virus reacts. So knowing the laws of nature is very important in Torah. Torah and science shouldn't be separated one from another. They should be together. What we call the forces of nature, in Kabbalah we call them the knowledge of the nations, or the wisdom of the nations, right? And then Torah, we call it the wisdom of the upper worlds, of heaven. And so we try to blend them in. The more you blend them in, the more seamless your life will be, from physical to spiritual, and from spiritual to physically. That's why you have a hard time sometimes in spirituality, because you don't know how to make that connection. And people who are very religious, and they believe in this craziness, they have a hard time bringing it down to their lives, because there's no bridge. So hopefully Kabbalah could be that to you guys and anybody who studies it. So if somebody asks you, what is Kabbalah? It's the bridge between the wisdom of the nations, which is the wisdom of science, and the wisdom of spirituality. If we can put it together, then we have Kabbalah. All right, so let's see where we stayed. I think we're gonna talk about the forces of giving. Can somebody tell me what is the force of giving? What was that force of giving? What was that about? Huh? Bueller. Remember that movie, Bueller? Nobody said nothing? No? What is the force of giving? Okay, I'm going to read it again. Tell me. Speaking is really good for your mind. Yes. The force of giving is God. It's Elohim, it's Yahweh. Okay? And then if that's the force of giving, the force of receiving is what? Us, the creature. And that includes plants, minerals, the planet, the galaxies. So there's only one force. But the force is singular. And his creatures are many. There's a plurality of it. So the light has to fashion out into different levels of light in order to get to each creature. So that's why we see a lot of phases of the universe, but really comes from one source, just like the Big Bang, right? The Big Bang is, we came from a point of singularity, and it became plurality as exploded. Same thing in Kabbalah. There's only one force, the force of giving. But it looks different when it comes to us, depending on the level of the vessel. If the vessel is big and has a lot of desire, the force becomes greater. If the vessel is restricted and has a small mouth to receive, then the light will look different. So it's kind of like if we get glasses or glasses, right? Vessels with different colors. And so the water, when it comes in, the water looks red and it looks blue, depending on the color of the vessel. But the water hasn't changed. What has changed the water is the vessel, right? That's why Yahweh or Elohim looks different from each of us. If I ask you how is God to you, you might give me a totally different answer of what I see God as. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, the more you desire to receive, the greater your life will be. Because the force that created everything will be on you. So the more you desire, that's why we would like you to always desire to go to school or to improve your life, to get a better job, to get a better everything, because that is the first step of opening your mouth, in this case, or the vessel, in order to receive. So that's what we talked about. Here's where we stay. So I'm going to read it, and then you will comment on it. When we together will comment on it. Yes? Okay. All right, so here goes. This creature, talking about the vessel, right, who's receiving this only force. This creature goes through a process of learning and development. So that's the first statement that I want to say. What does that mean to you? So we know there's only one force. Like we say in the Shema, God, one is. That's what we say. We say there's one force. In that force we call it the giver. But what is it saying about the creature that goes through a process of learning and development? What is it saying there? Yes. So this is very important, right? Because when it comes to religion, evolution is look like it's wrong. In Kabbalah, evolution is necessary in order to become. Right? So anything that comes to us has been evolving. It started as a pure power, but evolved in order to be you. And if you look like, I sometimes I like to go and see pictures of the 20s, because it's one of my favorite times for some reason. I like the see pictures of the 20s, 30s, and I like to see the faces of the people. They look like the 20s and 30s. I mean, you look at the 50s, they look at different. They're all humans, but they are different faces. Your face will be the same way. Our generation will look a different way than the 2060s. Is that weird? So there's a development, there's an evolution. We are again looking taller. We are growing taller. And for a while we were going shorter, but now it's evolving to a taller generations. You might not see it in you, but yeah, but it is. All right. So another thing that we need to understand when it comes to Kabbalah and to talk about this is that to be with the light, there is a process. It is not instantly. It's not accepting something. It's not saying, I just believe. It is a development that you go through your whole life. So remember how Adam and Eve were naked in the garden, or they felt they were naked, and then Yahweh decided to put skins of animals on them. Remember that story? In Hebrew, you know how if you say cannot or, it means covering. Or means light. But if I take the word or, and I put apostrophe before, like a little apostrophe, it changes the way the word not sounds, the meaning. So it's still or, with the little thing in the top, it means animal skin. If I take it out, it means skin of lights. Weird? So the little thing in the top is an aleph. Without it is an ayin. So imagine when Adam and Eve were created, they had skins of light. What that means? They could see through each other what they truly felt. Because remember, it was only true or false. They had nothing else. They didn't know what evil and good was, but they knew that if you love me or not, because they could see it through the skin of light. They could see that you love, that you care. Imagine that. That'd be awesome that you have a friend for a long time and you find out, oh my gosh, she was not good at all. How many times has happened to you that? Many times it happened to me. Right? You trust somebody and at the end, because the skin of animals traps the light that is inside. But when I had a skin of light, you could see through me. About maybe 10 years ago, I was teaching here in downtown on a conference of many religions and wizards and witches and everything you can think of. About 15,000 people were there. And so I was teaching Torah to people that were kind of crazy. And so at lunchtime, I took my son with me, and we went to see we went to an area where there was this machine that this guy had that can take your aura. I didn't believe it at that time. I was like, okay. But I like always to try things, so I said to my son, you try first, see what happens. You never know. You might disappear, I don't know. So then he sat there, right? The guy didn't know anything. Took the picture. And the aura of my son was red. But I mean, red. Right? I was like, okay. And then I said, oh, what does that mean? He said, it's red. And he says, okay. So he tells my son, you are very angry? you're like, he started. I mean, like, knew exactly to a point he says, who drove this morning? And then I said, he did. You were speeding. And I was arguing with him because I just bought a Porsche and he wanted to drive. And he was going fast. I was like, not too fast, not too fast. The aura told him that, to that guy. So I said, oh, I like that. He says, do me, take a picture of me. So he looked at me and said, okay. So he, goes and takes a picture, and my aura is green, right? With 3 yellow globes, right? And so I said, oh, what does that mean? He says, oh, you're a doctor, right? I said, well, I'm not a doctor. I mean, I'm not an MD. I'm not a medical doctor. Yeah, but you heal people. And I said, what do you mean? Yeah, your aura is everyone you touch, you want to heal. And he told me a little more, right? And then I said, because they got interested because it's about me, right? So I go, what about the 3 little gloves, the yellow ones? Because they're there. Oh, they're the people that follow you. What do I mean people? Well, the spirits, they follow you. And I always, in my life, I always felt that I have these 3 people or 3 things that are always following me. My aura, I couldn't tell him no. It was very straight. He knew more than me, through my light. So all of you guys have a light, right? But it's close by your skin. The skin, even though it's a degraded light, it covers your true light. And when you do not allow it to come out, that love becomes hate. That kindness becomes impatient. You must allow the light to come out. So part of Kabbalah is to teach you how to bring your light out so people can read you the way you truly are. There's no confusion. What you want, what you try to do, because your light is right there. Any question about that, or didn't matter? It's a good story. No? Yes? Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes, please.
I remember I was mentioning the fact that some people look at me like even when I would teach, they would always say, oh, she's like a mean teacher every time I would stand. And then after they met me, they would say, oh, no, she's really nice, blah, blah. But all the students, that was like their impression. Till this day, people who like see me first, that's one of the things that they see. Until today. And so when you were mentioning that, when you were saying that, that part where you kind of hide your true, or you cover that part of you, that's what it seemed like it was for me in that sense as you were mentioning it.
Yeah, and the thing is that the more that you learn about who you are, that light is going to come out, and then people are not going to see a confusion in you. They will exactly know who you are. And you know people like that, you're like, it seems like I know him, or I know her. It's because the light comes out. So remember like in the letters of Paul, if you have read the letters of Paul, he talks about having a fleshy mind, or flesh against the spirit. Flesh, in this case, is the covering of your light. Not that the flesh is wrong. I need to have flesh. But it's degraded. It doesn't allow for true me. When you are too fleshy, in that idea, is you are too cover up. So
Is it more like an animal type of attitude when you're on your flesh?
Yeah, you're more in a survival mode, an animalistic type of impulses, animal nature, Okay, so let's go. Let's continue. All right. So all I'm trying to say is that the creature, who is the creature? Us. Goes through a process of learning and development. The more you learn, you start taking these things that cover you. In Kabbalah, we call them klipots. They're like little shelves. They kind of start covering you up, right? It's kind of like, have you seen sheep that haven't been cut their wool for a long time? I mean, they get this craziness. That's what it is. It's like you to cover. And that's why you feel ashamed, you feel embarrassed, everything is negative, nobody loves me, nobody hears me, because you're covering up and covering up of your true self. So through the process in the learning of Torah and Kabbalah, you must break free of that stuff and be you. That'd be nice. Don't you think? You don't have to be thinking what people think about you, or what they might think about you, or what they're talking about you, or they don't love you, or they don't, all that stuff goes away. This is what Ashlak is saying. But it must have a process of learning and development. And continues. And at its end, discovers a full grandeur of the beauty of its creator. So the more that I see myself correctly, the more I see God. So if somebody says, I can see God, is because you cannot see yourself. But if you see your true self, you will see God. Because that's the whole point. As Rabbi Ashlak explained, this revelation of the Creator to the creature is the essence and the purpose of Kabbalah. Actually, it's the purpose of the whole creation. So, if somebody would say to us, what are you guys are learning at Bet Yeshua? We are learning to find out who I am. If I know who I am, God will be in front of me. And that's the whole purpose. Because you will see the beauty in everything around you. You will not be, judging all this stuff that I'm good, I'm bad, and whatever I feel. Any question about that one? Okay, so here we go. Put it more simply. Kabbalah teaches us how to receive the Creator. Literally, for the creature and the Creator to merge. What is it saying? When I am feeling distant, when I'm feeling feeling these three things, unheard, have you felt in your life, or have you thought about when you feel like nobody can see me, nobody sees me, nobody can hear me, nobody hears me, or unprotected, uncared? Have you felt like that? Yes, we all have. That's part of human. Kabbalah says the more that you can understand that you and God, you and the force are one, life will be easier for you. This is why we spend time here together. And this is why we're making the effort, you and I, together to figure out that part. Simple. You and God are one. And the more that you take the skin out, you will see that you and God are one. So you will not speak anymore like God is distant, like God is in a throne and deciding what to do with my life. You and God becomes partners. And when you realize that, all your decisions is not only yours, it's the light with you, because you and the light become one. Then the security, because you learn. But it's a learning curve, and there's a development for that. And it takes a little while, but as you go every week, you can. So much that the parashot, right, the portions of Torah, we call them the garments of light. It's like we're putting all these garments in order to take out this skin that is pretty dead, actually, when it comes to the light. Does that make sense? The result is an experience of tremendous beauty and joy in every moment of every day. So what is this? What is Ashlak saying there? This is not too hard for you. No, it's not. It's not, What does it mean when he says that if you unite yourself with him, the result of this experience is tremendous beauty and joy in every moment of every day? Did you see beauty in everything? Actually, you probably not. You probably see more ugliness and very few beauty in anything you do. Anything you do, anybody else do, and the whole world around you. The closer I get to true reality, you'll be surprised how wonderful this world is. I don't care what you see in the news and what is happening and not happening. It's a wonderful. Have you seen that movie, Wonderful Life? You did? Anybody else? True, but what is it about? A what? A Christian? Oh, I see what you're thinking about. One is A Wonderful Life. Yeah. That's the Christmas one. But I'm glad you spoke. Yes. Good. This is good. We're making some process here. No, but I don't need you to speak here. You need to speak with me because that's why you're here with me. We converse. Where else do I converse with you? I don't call you 2 o'clock. Hey, what's up? What are you doing? No.
So in that movie, he was able to see beauty through all the struggles that he was, as a Jew, was going through when he was in the camp. Is that the one?
Yes, that one. But he was teaching the little boy.
He was teaching his son.
So his son, right? I mean, they were in a concentration camp. But get killed. Actually, he gets killed at the end. But the son never knew. The son never knew that he was in a concentration camp.
And he never knew that they were going to
Kill him.
kill his dad.
No, nothing.
He never got to see that part because even in that moment, he was showing his kid, he was enjoying the way that as he was going to get killed, walking.
He said that no, the son didn't get killed, but only the father. Oh yeah. What he's saying is that no. But again, you need to learn that perception is the key to you.
He was teaching his child to see the beauty within all of the.
In the ugliness way. He never knew that the son never knew he was in a concentration camp. He think he was in a beautiful place. They were giving him all this stuff, but there was nothing there. There was just death. But he figured out the love he had for him to live a beautiful life in that time. So even though sometimes this looks so horrible, our Father can shelter our perception to see the true meaning of life. I'll give you an example. So in the 80s, they went to Antarctic, I think it was the North Pole, and they took ice out. These big tubes will go down 2 miles down, and then take the ice out. And so they looked at the ice, and through the ice, because 2 miles down, it puts you about maybe 100,000 years ago on climate. The climate just went down. When they took it out, they found out that this Earth, this planet, 100,000 years ago, right? It was very hot in the day. It will dry everything, and at night it will flood. Very hard to live in this planet. Terrible. But 100,000 years ago, something happened to our climate, and it changed. And it changed to this. The reason that we have so many of us now is because our climate has been not the normal. The normal, this planet is very harsh. There's a lot of desert and a lot of flood. But we will live in a paradise for about 100,000 years. Maybe this is what Torah says about that he put a garden here. Maybe he changed the climate. So you live in a wonderful climate. Even though we see a lot of craziness, it's beautiful. So does that make sense? Okay. All right. We're okay in time, right? Why I'm doing holes now? It's 5:30, right? That's our time. Okay, here we go. A little thing on this. In the speech at the completion of the Zohar, remember the Rabbi Ashlag completed the Zohar in Hebrew, right? He had a speech, and he finished it. The Rabbi Ashlag defines the created being as a will to receive pleasure. What does that mean to you? The will to receive pleasure. Okay. Yeah. What else? He says that the creature is a will to receive pleasure. No, W-I-L-L. Why are you unhappy sometimes? Why the things doesn't go your way? Why will of pleasure? Yes. I mean, there is a reason why you don't have polio. There's somebody who gave his life for you not to have polio. You know what polio is, right? You deform your hip and your leg, and it's horrible. I mean, it's better to be in a wheelchair than that, how that looks. And somebody, it's a hero for somebody, I guess. Who? Who is that? And the culmination that you like about her is that, right? But her life is full of what? Flaws and problems and things to get there. That is the will of the creature. Is the will of the pleasure. Because she wanted to do that. And she had fully pleasure or imagined to create that. But there was a lot of tears and pain and sufferings to get there. To not back up from suffering. Suffering is a monster in your mind that is not forever. No suffering is forever. It must go away. But you have to confront it through the pleasure of getting what you want. It's kind of like you're in a diet and you're like, oh man, if I eat this hamburger, I'm going to gain 2 pounds. Okay. But tomorrow I'll go and run and run and run. No matter. Okay? That's kind of like that. All right. Miko, you have one? Oh, you? No, you will later. No. Okay, you're fine. All right. So I'm going to read now the whole thing, okay? The whole speech and a little part of the speech. He goes. Rabbi Ashlag defines the created being as a will to receive pleasure. He explains that we want only to receive pleasure because he wants only to give us pleasure. Therefore, our whole purpose in life is to learn how to enjoy the pleasures that the Creator wants to give to us. I don't know, you know about nothing about Zohar, but this is a speech. He says, after reading the whole thing and understanding and translating, I get to the point that the only thing I need to do is to enjoy what He gives me. If I do that, I have learned Kabbalah. That was interesting. All you have to do is enjoy your life. What He gives you every day. It might look bad, it might look good, but remember, that tree hurts you. Okay. You didn't like that, huh? I think it is. It's a simple thing. I mean, it's a simple understanding, maybe not living it, but it's simple getting it. Anybody could get that. You must enjoy what is given to you. But we're animals, see? So I'll give you another example in UCLA. I was at UCLA once. Well, no, not only once, but I was at UCLA, and they were doing a study on monkeys. I don't remember the type of monkey it was, but they had them in these cages. There was 2 of them. And so they gave an apple to one of them. He went from that, rich and got the apple. And then gave the apple to the other one also. She got it. Or he got it. And like that, every day they were giving these apples to the monkeys. Then, one day, they decided to give 2 apples to the first monkey. So he grabbed them. And they gave 1 apple to the second monkey. What do you think happened? The other monkey who got 1 apple grabbed it, and then he threw it back at the person. Why? What did he want it? The more you compare yourself with everybody else, you do not enjoy who you are. That is a dragon. We call it a dragon in our minds. The comparison of things. We compare everything. And not enjoy what was given to us. He was getting an apple. He'd been getting an apple for a month, I think it was. So there was no change in his life. He had an apple, but he saw the other with 2. So that means that comparison is not human. It's a monkey. A monkey does that. Compares itself to somebody else. Isn't that weird? Not you. You guys don't compare each other with anything. But I'm saying the monkeys of the world. Right? You don't, right? No. Huh? Okay. So, I'm going to give you 5 more minutes, okay? And I'll let you go. Is that okay? But do you understand in this, how we grasping this? So if I tell you until now, what do you have learned today? Just one statement. What have you learned what I've been telling you? We only have read 2 paragraphs. Loud, mi amor, I can hear you. How many paragraphs? No, it was just a little piece of his speech. The speech was pretty great. But this is what he said at the end. He says, I just have learned that you must learn to receive and enjoy what is given to you. It seems that that's all it is. Right? So the mom you have, you should enjoy. Right? The dad you have, yeah, I should enjoy him. Because that was what's given to me. Sometimes we want something else. I'm not saying parents, but things, like, maybe parents sometimes too. But at the end, what's going to make you complete and happy is to be joyful what is given to you. That brother you have, they're like, why? Or that school, or, whatever it is that you have. The more you learn to enjoy it, life will be more beautiful, more pleasure. And then life won't be so miserable. Because you're in a stage of your life where things are going to get a little rougher as you go. The waters are going to get a little stranger. I know as a teenagers you think but you're not even in the ocean yet. You're just looking at it and pretending that you are in there. But you'll get in there. And you'll do awesome because you are vessels who were made to receive the beauty of the light. But you must develop, you must learn. Can somebody tell me one thing that you have learned through?
Yeah.
Thank you, Iko. You save me here.
I learned that lack of ignorance with experiencing pleasure in the sense of receiving what Hashem, God, Almighty One, give us every day through different sources or people, for instance, like the example that you said, a monkey. If you receive, I don't know, a car, even though it's a low value car or something, right?
Uh-huh.
I gotta be thankful for that because there are people, not in the sense that I compare my
Yes. Yeah. Gratefulness. Yeah. Yeah. L- love it. Anybody else? I'm looking at. Yeah, okay.
While we think about it,
Uh-huh.
I think that for me it's been all that time that has been consumed on comparison in every aspect, not only like, you want to see the envious situation where that other person has that better job as you get older, or if you're a team, that person who became king or queen of prom, or things like that, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of enjoying the party, instead of enjoying the job that you have, instead of, that there would have been more pleasure in life if, in my case, I would have focused more on the good things of my life as opposed to what I'm missing because I don't have what the other person has.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're trying to live an emptiness that doesn't exist. I mean, it doesn't exist. It's not going to exist. Just like in a car, right? If you had a old car, that BMW doesn't exist. What exists is that old car that can take me from point A to point B, right? Yeah. Anybody in that table? In the table? Mariana, something like. Is there anything like you learned that you have a great dad? You have a great dad. Your dad is awesome. It's funny. I know his dad, and I know them so long, but Abraham, I call him Abraham, right? He never speaks too much. When he speaks, though, he's the wisest man I know. And he's so calm. I always say, man, if I just had his calmness. Her mom is more, everywhere. And Abraham just walks and talks. But I bet you, right, that his calmness calms your mom. And you guys are kind of have that spirit, in your house because of the dad. I don't know. Is that what you learned, right? Yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it. Yes, it's quiet because it's like, I always think about her like that. Yeah, that was like that, very quiet, very, very calm. All right, okay, we'll finish there. Then next week we'll do revealing the Creator. We're going to reveal Him in this study. Okay, have a good day or evening.
Thursday? Oh, yeah, booyah.